All right, cool. Everybody, welcome back. This is MGM MarketAbilities podcast. We have 3 guests on. We've never done this before. We only had like 1 or 2 or something like that. And so we have the creators of Baker Banter, correct?
Baker Banter, that is right.
Okay, first of all, introduce yourselves real quick.
Okay, you want to go first?
I don't mind to go first.
Okay, you go first.
Go ahead.
My name is Derek Baker. I am a star. I am the biggest fan of wrestling. That also a fan of Baker Banter and TikTok. And I am a fan of Cobra Kai and Stranger Things. So I always talk about those shows and all the time. So
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, I'm glad you're here, Derek.
I am Valerie Baker. I'm the mom. That's about it.
That's about it.
that's about it.
I'm
That's all
the
you got.
chauffeur.
I'm a chauffeur. Yeah, I'm a chauffeur.
Backup
And
cameraman.
Backup cameraman, sometimes supporting actress.
Yeah.
I've won 2 Oscars in the last 2
Whoa,
years, as declared
that's a
by
big
Baker
deal.
Banter. Not really.
No, it's
You
a big
never win an Oscar.
Come
on.
As declared by Baker Banter, just like you've never won a WWE championship, bro. Same thing.
Everybody's getting called
Well,
out.
you never win a tag team championship either.
I haven't. And I am Jenna. I am Derek's older sister. And I work for Baker Banter full time. So this is my full-time job. I
Full-time.
create videos. I do all the things.
Yeah, so how did Baker Banter even like start? Like, where did the idea come from?
So Derek's always wanted to be on YouTube, and we
Yeah,
talked
sure.
about it for a long time of making a YouTube channel. And I always just told him, like, I promise I'll do it. But I went to the University of Missouri. I studied broadcast journalism.
Okay.
So I had a background in media and videography and all that good stuff. And then when the pandemic first started, we were all getting sent home.
Right.
We kind of knew that maybe we were going to have a lot of extra time on our hands all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And so I told our little sister, Katy, she's 21 and still in college, but I told her, I was like, well, we've always talked about starting Derek a YouTube channel. Like, let's do it.
It's the perfect
And
time.
she said, well, if we're going to be on YouTube,
It's perfect time.
you
Yeah.
know,
Very
being the Gen
perfect
Zer she is,
Yeah.
she said, if you're going to be on YouTube, then we need to be on TikTok. And
You gotta be on TikTok.
yeah, so we launched on TikTok. It just happened to work out that it was World Down Syndrome Day that we launched for the first
That's
time.
perfect.
2020.
Yeah. Yes, 2020, March 21st, 2020. And we launched on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and a week later I lost my job.
Oh my gosh.
So at that point it was like, well, now I
Let's just go
really
for
have
it.
a lot of time on
Yeah.
my hands. And
A lot of
I
time.
did get
Lot of
lucky. I
time.
was able to, collect unemployment for the first 6 months of trying to build a business.
Right.
So that was nice. But we pretty much just started making content and producing as much as we could, as fast as we could, and just getting stuff out there. And we started it in March, and we had 1 million followers by June.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like
so
unheard of.
yeah, it was a lot. TikTok is just especially then too, you could grow so fast
Right.
if you were consistent, and I had the time to be consistent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So here we are.
Yeah, I think
Derek
it's,
had the talent to be consistent.
Oh,
right?
well, Derek's
well,
just
of course.
himself.
I
Yeah.
always have that, like, every time Mom is doing it through. Very true, actually, because I am
The best of being you.
best to be me, and I talk about lots of stuff, like,
That's what we always
Yeah.
tell people, that Derek is
like
the-
wrestling and Cobra Kai and
Yeah.
Stranger Things and all that stuff.
Yeah.
We got one more thing to go for Stranger Things. So.
One more
So I'm
season.
ready. One more season.
yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, we always tell people that the best thing Derek is good at is being himself. And
Yeah.
like, he just is. Like,
Yeah.
he is always him.
Yeah, we
And,
know.
like,
So we were actually talking about that because
Yeah.
we just, we just recorded them on the Spiel, the TV show, and we were talking about some of your one-liners were just so good,
So witty.
like
Wow.
so witty, so funny, and like out of nowhere.
So quick.
Oh, yeah.
So quick. Always.
Yeah.
He's always been like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just started
always
recording it.
Be like that all the time.
Yeah,
It is real. I am the biggest comedian.
See?
see, it's working right
He's
now.
not very good at scripted things.
Right.
He's good on the fly. He likes to
Right.
just, and then you're like, what?
I
did
have
you
no
just
idea
say?
what she's saying, but I am. but I am a comedian. I always make people laugh.
You do.
Yeah,
It's super fun. Like do something crazy like talk about rush a person and break her with that, and that's the best TikTok I ever made.
Okay.
like my mom outside, and that was pretty awesome and really funny. And that's just that. Also, Turkish shit. It was gonna be like a little girl after that.
So Valerie, what was it like, being a mom, right? And I don't know where you were at with COVID. Like, did you lose your job, or were you able to keep your job?
No, I work from home.
Okay, so that's perfect, right?
Well, I started working from home.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you're just kind of viewing all this, right? Like, just happened, like your family's like creating a business out of nowhere.
Right.
Yeah.
It's been pretty nuts.
They look
Yeah.
great, right?
Little cray-cray.
Very cray-cray, actually. Very cray-cray.
She had a hard time with it at the beginning.
I
The
had a
comments.
hard time with the not so nice people.
Oh, well,
And
yeah.
accepting
You're
that.
always gonna have that.
Yeah. And
She had a hard time like being okay with the fact that was going to exist. Like
Right.
just because we kind of forced this upon her,
Yeah.
whether she wanted it or not, and she didn't really know everything that would come with it. Like I knew we weren't going to have success without
Oh.
having negativity.
Oh,
She
yeah.
never.
But
paid
that was
attention
something
to
that
anything
she had a
besides her work.
yeah, she did struggle at first with adjusting to that
Right.
aspect of it.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's also, I come from a generation where you don't leave the house until you do your hair and put your makeup on. And now,
Right.
They've got a phone in my face when I've just gotten
You
off
just
the
woke
treadmill.
up, or
And it's like, really?
Disgusting. Disgusting, right?
Oh, thank you.
Don't tell her that. Don't fuel her fire.
So that's a little different. But my
always
husband,
tell I'm like, Mom, nobody cares what you look like.
Have you ever hit your brother with a coaster before? Was that a first time thing?
Oh,
Whatever you have in
it's
your
just,
hand.
it's just what was closest.
yeah.
I knew it wouldn't hurt.
But my husband has nicknamed them TMZ
Not afraid of you.
very early in the whole process.
Oh, that's
it's
good.
like living
Yeah,
with
that's
TMZ
perfect. Yeah.
because you just never know. I mean, and now I'm to the point where, like the other night, I knew my husband was up to something, right? I just knew he was up to something.
You had
so
that feeling.
I flipped
Fair.
the phone on and I start recording to see what is he going to do. Well, he brought us. Derek does not like cicadas. I don't either.
Right.
No, I do not.
No.
I hate the cicadas.
Yeah, they're scarier than Roman reigns. We've established that. I
Yeah.
get it, right? But I knew my husband was up to something. I flipped the phone on instantly, and I follow him to see what he's doing. He throws a cicada on him.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I
And so now
lose my
Dad just
shit.
instigates. Like
Yeah.
Dad just
no.
thinks he's funny.
totally an instigator.
He's part of the problem and the solution.
but
Yes.
he gets all the love in the world.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Always love. We all love Baker Banter Dad.
I always tell
Yeah.
people when we're on
Always
TikTok
like-
Live and they're talking about Dad, I'm like, you guys only like him because I only show you
well.
the best parts.
Right, of
like,
course,
I'm the
yeah.
editor and I
Yeah.
make him look good.
Yeah.
Like the stupid cicadas, it tease me all the time. And I told him over and over, it's not healthy to do.
Yeah, it's not healthy to tease.
Right. It's yeah. That's
He's
that's
stuck
true.
in his ways, man.
He is. He's an old man.
He is, oh man.
All right. So what do you, Jenna? What do you think was like your best habit that you guys kind of inducted into your business to kind of get that that crazy growth?
Be with
yeah,
me.
I think.
Be with
Yeah,
me all
okay.
the time.
Okay.
with you?
Next
Yeah.
question. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, it was so. I think habit is a word that I'm not very good at.
Well, yeah. Just like there's like a
I-
few things you just did so consistently. That
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, those are those things.
I think it was just the posting. Luckily, I had the time that we could be posting every
Right.
single day, and that's how we started. Like, I used to be. I've given myself some grace, and we have more sources of income coming in. I'm not
Yeah.
quite as dependent upon the views alone.
That's good.
So for a long time, like I would stress myself out if I didn't post a certain amount each day, because if
Yeah.
we didn't post a certain amount, then we weren't going to get a certain amount of views and we weren't going to get paid, you know?
yeah.
But that's not really the same issue we're having anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something that I've been able to like kind of calm down a little bit about.
Yeah.
But I think it's just that consistency. And I think for us, like what we've always done is just been ourselves.
Yeah.
And so like that wasn't necessarily like a habitual thing. We just like, that's what we share.
Yeah.
And so we have always just kind of shared this like chaotic energy
Yeah.
that is our life.
But it's genuine.
It's true. Yeah, like
Yeah.
you can't make this up.
Right.
And like sometimes people do say that like,
Never
oh my
been-
God, that's so staged. I'm like, in what world? How do we stage this?
Yeah,
like,
right. Right.
How do we stage dad walking in with I mean, obviously dad staged it, but like dad thought about it in his head, but dad didn't even tell her to record. He's just like
right,
walks in with the data.
but your reactions are not staged. Like
no,
you're being
no,
genuine.
and you can't stage this guy. Like
No,
you
not
get
at all.
that's why
You never stage anything.
exactly. The only time we stage things are when we're like legitimately creating like a trend that we are
Yeah.
intentionally trying to like follow whatever that trend is or do the dance or whatever that
Right.
might be. But like we do those just to have an easy video here and there. But
Yeah.
for the most part, like we're recording our real life moments and
posting it.
whatever happens.
Yeah.
And sometimes that turns into 16 videos about a bobcat, and sometimes that turns into, one video about just whatever.
Right.
To the cicada to the bobcat, cicada bobcat is always being the stupid idiot
Wow.
cicada.
Can you tell me how you really feel?
Yeah.
You better hope dad doesn't listen to this.
Yeah. So dad brought home a bobcat.
Okay.
That's
That's the bobcat. So
The bobcat is the
a
worst.
taxidermied
Interesting.
bobcat.
The
Like,
bobcat
it's
is the worst.
And the thing is, so we've had deer heads on our walls forever. Like
Yeah.
we've grown up with deer heads on our walls.
Oh,
so
yeah,
we're
same
not
here.
like super like that doesn't mean anything to us.
Right.
The deer don't scare us, like whatever. But the thing with the deer is that because they're so high up in our house, they just look straight out at whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the way that the bobcat is positioned, it's like on a rock and its front paws are coming down toward the bottom of the rock and its
Okay.
back paws are up on the top of the rock.
Okay.
So its face is looking straight
Like
down
at you?
into the room.
Oh, yeah.
So if you stand at like the perfect spot in the room, that bobcat is terrorizing you. And
Giving you nightmares.
yeah, and so Derek and it's hilarious watching this video back. I actually just went and watched it not that long ago because something come up and I was like looking at the first bobcat video again. But it's actually funny because Derek sees the bobcat and he's just standing there. He starts screaming about the bobcat. He's like, "Mom, what is this? Like, why is this happening?" So she hears him screaming and she walks in there with camera on because she knows Derek's doing something and
Yeah.
probably should record it. And it's the first time she's seen it too. So then she turns around and she's like, "Oh, Eric, are you sure? Like, do we really need this?" But so then next thing you know, we're getting both of their genuine reactions. Like she's behind the camera, he's in
Yeah.
front of the camera, but still, like she is like
You can hear it.
totally
Yeah.
not. She did not know that bobcat was on the wall until
That's
she
so
walked
funny.
in
I had
the
no idea.
room.
It's hideous.
Yeah.
It's ugly. I mean, I'm not
Well, it's
talking
also
about,
a bad taxidermy job.
well, you shouldn't
Okay.
say that because
Okay, but it just okay. Well, whatever. But
It was his
it's
first
not.
one.
He
They
admits
won't
it's a
know.
bad.
They won't
He admits it wasn't very good. Our dad forced his friend to do it.
Oh.
And he's like, "I've never done a bobcat. I don't think I know what to do." And
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, just do it. You'll be fine." So like he made his friend do it. His friend knew he didn't know what he was doing. Like I'm sure Tim would admit that it wasn't very good.
now we named him.
Okay,
too.
well, whatever.
Yeah.
but anyway, that went on for like 2 hours. Like,
And he kept asking her to record. He's like, "Record again."
and I'm like, okay, we're done. Like, I'm
Yeah,
exhausted by
right.
this point. I'm like, I'm trying to leave the room, and
Yeah.
he is not done.
He's like, "No, you're still gonna record this reaction."
I'm not done with that.
And he's still
It's
not done.
Not
Yeah.
done with
Still
it.
not done.
Right.
But I think that one of the things about Derek and maybe
I
other
did
people,
brought up Brock Lesnar earlier.
he wanted Brock Lesnar to come
Into the
if
house.
You know who that is?
Oh, yeah.
WWE.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. He said, and this is actually how I eventually diffused the situation. He wanted Brock Lesnar to come in basically and beat up his dad.
and get rid of the bobcat.
Get rid of the
that was
bobcat.
Derek's
That would be the best
solution.
video ever.
Okay, and so I said, okay,
I'd
here-
agree to that, by the way.
Yeah, so our final resolution was, okay, here's the deal. If Brock Lesnar comes to our home and asks Dad nicely to take
Yeah.
the bobcat down,
We'll take it down.
we'll think about it.
Right.
And that finally
asks
diffused.
nicely.
Yeah, that diffused after 2 hours. That diffused the situation. And so, but I think the thing about Derek is he processes stuff verbally. Like
Right.
you and I would sit here and have this whole discussion in our head, and maybe never say a word.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But he's gonna talk the whole thing through.
Yeah.
And that's how he processes things. It's he's very verbal in his processing of his emotions and his
And
feelings.
now he's a vlog, so it's on
And,
YouTube now.
Yeah, now now it's all recorded to share with
Yeah, and
whoever
it's the
wants to
perfect
watch
content for what you guys are doing.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's
Yeah.
hilarious. People ask us about it all the time.
Yeah.
We'll see that. We actually ran into
How's
these
a bobcat?
kids.
How's a bobcat?
We ran into these
No one
kids.
cares.
They were probably like 14, 15 years old. We're at a hotel and we just like go walking past their room. They were having a bunch of kids in the room. And so they see us. And I had a feeling when we were walking by that somebody was going to know us because they were the right age demographic to like be on TikTok.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, this guy comes running out. He had lost his voice, but he's like, "Hey, you're on TikTok." And he's like, got this really raspy sounding voice because he had lost his voice that day. And he's like, "Hey, Derek, how's that stuffed animal?" and we're like, "Are you talking about the bobcat?"
bobcat, yeah.
And he's like, "The bobcat." And I'm like, "Buddy, that's taxidermy." And he's like, "Taxidermy, that's the word." He's like, "I knew it wasn't a stuffed animal. I just couldn't come up with the right word."
That's so funny. Oh
But
my
yeah,
gosh.
we get asked about it all the time. People are like, "Derek, how's that bobcat? How's that bobcat?"
Yeah.
It's still there. That's where it is.
Still there.
Still stares at you.
Yeah, I mean, just going
Really
back to like,
creepy. It's kind of like that girl from Sweet Love Psycho Cody show.
I don't know. I'm not going to come up with it. But I believe you.
The ghost.
I'm not going to come up with it
I know
still.
what you're talking about too,
But I do believe you.
because we don't know her name.
yeah.
I think Lucas was
was
going to
gonna
ask
ask
another
Oh.
question.
Yeah, so just going back, I mean, like it seems all your content is very genuine, very real, and that's something that we actually talked about on our podcast like an episode or two ago. Is like usually people with the most genuine, like real content take off the quickest
Yeah.
because
It's
if
important.
you're like faking it, like people can feel that.
Yeah,
You know,
and it
they
just
can
looks
feel
like
it
everybody
through the
else's
video.
content.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Like people can't be like us because they're not us.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
and when they try, they kind of fall flat. Right.
Right. Yeah. Because it just is. It's just our life. And honestly, we've been saying this forever. Like we have said for my entire life, we could have a reality TV show because
Yeah.
it's just the stuff that happens is so entertaining.
Day in and day
And
out.
we entertain ourselves with our antics
Right.
and we entertain our friends and our family with our antics and we entertain strangers and wherever we are with our antics. Like
Yeah.
it's just
it's
now
kinda
we're
like-
sharing it with the internet.
You're right.
It's kind of like Stranger Things, but better. There's our Stranger Things.
This
Yeah.
is our real life and we just share it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's happy, and sometimes we're sassy, and sometimes we're pissed off about a bobcat.
But it's real.
But
And
it's
that's
real.
What matters. Yeah.
We share real. That is
Well,
true.
Do you think the Demogorgon is real to you?
I don't think the Demogorgon is real
I don't think the Demogorgon is real.
because that's a fantasy,
That,
fiction.
Not
But this is real,
I don't care.
non-fiction, non-fiction life.
I don't care if it's real or not real. The Demogorgon did took Will on them hostage during the show.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna get back on
So-
on this topic now.
Yeah,
Okay?
I've really just got one more question left, and then we
Sure.
can kind of wrap up. And this is kind of for all of you because you guys all experienced it from the start. Is if someone's like starting out and like wanting to do something similar to what you guys are doing, what would you tell them?
I would say, of course, be yourself. I feel like that's really cliche thing to say, but I think it's important to understand that when I say be yourself, that doesn't mean you can't change because
Right, of
everybody
course.
changes. When you grow up, when you learn more, when you have more experiences, you're going to change as a person.
Oh, yeah.
But be true to who you are. Be true to your morals. Be true to the things that make you feel good. Like for us, sometimes we get hate when we post videos of us picking on Derek or us whatever. Like they
Yeah.
think, and I'm like, we're siblings. Like, what do you
Yeah.
expect? It's just like
Yeah,
be
have you
rainbows
ever
and
picked on
butterflies
your
into that.
siblings? Yeah.
Like last time I checked, if Derek used Katy's toothbrush, she's gonna get pissed at him. Like that's
Right.
just how life works.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
so it's just like it's
I'm
okay
really
to
hoping that Katie's listen to this.
yeah, it's okay to be yourself and be every version of yourself too. And of course,
Yeah.
you don't have to share your like worst moments if you don't want to.
Yeah.
But like sharing that vulnerable side, sharing the side where you are in a bad mood and maybe you were a little sassy that day, or
Yeah.
sharing the side where you're not having a perfect picture perfect day, like
Sure.
just being yourself along every aspect, even if it's just saying like I don't know what I'm doing and I'm
Right.
struggling with XYZ and
yeah,
this
like
is
getting
hard.
vulnerable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like just being able to like be upfront with that and be real about that, I think is like the most important thing you can do, because otherwise you're just going to get lost and you're not going to know
Right.
what, and then all of a sudden what you thought you wanted to do isn't going to be fulfilling anymore because you're not
Yeah.
you're not being yourself.
Right.
And
That's a
so
really
I
good
think
point.
that's like the biggest thing. And for us, like we work together, and we have, mine and Derek's relationship has gotten to such a better
Very
place.
awesome.
The way in
Very
which we are
awesome.
capable of communicating with one another now versus 2 years ago
Right.
is very different.
That's awesome.
And so I think it's especially with social media, you have to be consistent and you have to be who you are, because if
Yeah, it's
you
a big
try to be
deal.
somebody else, that person's already doing it.
Right.
They don't need another person.
No.
They're already they're
Yeah.
like, if you just
There's
try
so
to
many
be
others,
like,
yeah.
like you just need to figure out what it is that you are good at. And for us, it's like we are good at being ourselves. We're good at being a
Yeah.
family unit. And Derek really likes wrestling, so our content has taken that into
Cobra Kai
like
is
we do
straight to
that.
face.
Yeah, like we talk about what Derek likes to talk about. So we do
Yeah.
a lot of wrestling related stuff. We post stuff about The Voice and Stranger Things. But through and through, what we are always
Cobra
doing
Kai
is just being a
can never
family.
get that.
Yeah.
Whether
right.
that's functional or not. Like
Right.
sometimes we do it really well, and other times we're screaming at each other.
Yeah,
Like it's
of
okay.
course, yeah.
But regardless, we lead with love, and we support each other, and we just try to be good people.
I do have
Yeah.
a question for him.
Yeah, go
actually. I noticed on TikTok you interview Jim Hopper from Stranger Things.
That was not me. That was someone else.
Oh no, somebody else.
Yeah. I wish I interviewed John Krasinski. That'd be incredible.
But this podcast is about like just making yourself marketable and that sort of thing too.
Yeah,
Do you want
yeah.
me to speak to the branding side of it a little bit?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Take a couple
Okay.
minutes and just talk about how you guys branded yourself.
Yeah. So I was lucky.
Actually, let me check the camera one
Yeah.
quick second.
Take your time.
Oh yeah, we're good. Yeah, go ahead.
So I was lucky that I have a background in advertising, sales, and marketing. I worked at 2 different radio station groups
Yeah.
before we started Baker Banter, and I was in sales. And so I worked with a lot of brands on the local level, which now we're working with brands on a
cool.
much larger level. But I did have that like knowledge, and I had two really good sales managers who taught me
Yeah.
just like
Experience
how
is so
to.
key.
I always used to say that like when I was first learning how to be like a salesperson,
Mm-hmm.
I have all of the right characteristics. They just helped me channel that into like a business professional
Yeah.
way of carrying myself
Almost created like a system.
Yeah.
For you to kind of
in a professional way to
Yeah.
like utilize the strong points of my personality. Like I've always had a really easy time talking to anybody, and
Yeah.
turning that into something that I can really use to help me in a career
Yeah.
standpoint. But when it comes to social media, because I came from that background and having that sales experience, I think that has allowed me to have a little bit of an advantage over other content creators,
Mm-hmm.
just because I have that knowledge of how brands like to work with people and what they value and all of that sort of thing.
Yeah,
But I
it's a
think
big deal.
for me, starting out, you'll get a lot of opportunities to make a video for a product that you don't really care about.
Oh yeah.
You know?
For sure.
And I have turned down a lot of things that I didn't think were necessary to, maybe we could have made $2,000 that month, but like, was it really going to be something that I wanted to work with that made
Yeah.
sense for him, a product that we
Yeah.
would actually use?
Yeah, it goes back to being genuine.
Like
Like,
traffic.
it's like, do you want to be sponsored by products that you don't really actually use? Like that's
Yeah, like the number of times this like random air purifier has reached out to us that's honestly a name Derek wouldn't even been able to pronounce. I'm like, this just isn't it.
Sure.
And so like when you're starting off in a position like this, like you do have a lot of opportunities that will come to you that seem really exciting,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really important to understand that you need to set yourself up for big picture success and not just those like one-off things that you want it because it feels validating, but it's
Right.
not something that you actually really care about. And it's really hard to say no to those things when you're first getting started and you
Right,
barely
'cause
have any money.
and you see the numbers.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, I get to make money. Yeah, I'll do it.
Right.
But if you do that and you overload your followers with here's this code and here's that code and here's this
Yeah.
and here's that, like that's not what people want to see. That's not why people are following you.
Right.
So I have always tried really hard to make sure that if we're going to work with a brand, that it's something that we actually could see ourselves using and pursuing and genuinely telling people how much we enjoy working with them and all that kind of stuff. And that was really hard for me my first, like probably our first year or so, just because we weren't making very much money at all. And so those one-off deals were nice when they came in, and it looked nice, but we said no to a lot of things because it didn't make sense. And like now we just recently started working with a company, and I've really tried to steer clear of doing any kind of like use code Baker Banter, because if you do so many of those, like it just kind of gets lost. It gets so lost, and like people just don't remember it, and like. But I've always said that if we're gonna do something like that, I want it to be something we really care about. And so we've actually just now 2.5 years in started working with our first company where we're actually promoting a code.
Cricket Wireless?
No, not Cricket. The bracelet company. It's the Cricket deal's a little bit different. That's a bigger scale deal. This is more like a. We're getting a little bit of a commission and a little bit of a fee, and then they code Baker Banter and you get 15% off or whatever. But we could have been doing that with so many different companies for the past 2 years, and I waited until we actually got in front of one that I felt like this actually makes sense, and it's an organization that they support adults with disabilities. They employ adults with disabilities. It's on brand. It works. It's huge. But I could have easily done that with 17 other different fashion brands that message Katie and I all the time. But that's not why we do what we do. And you have to. It's so important to have those brand relationships. But it's so important to have ones that really only make sense. And so that's what I think is from the branding side of things, creating those relationships, being consistently just telling brands what it is that you are good at. Like when I had the idea to reach out to Cricket Wireless, at that point, we had been making WWE related content for a year and a half. And we had just gone to Royal Rumble, and I had all these really cool videos that I was able to send them and say, like, you guys support WWE, and we are the WWE fan base. We have created a following of WWE followers too.
That's a big deal.
Like the WWE events, when we go to these, like sometimes we'll have lines of people like lining up to talk to Derek. So
that's so cool. Oh my gosh.
So for someone else, if it's for someone else, if it's a different topic, if it's, a different sport or a different thing that they're really passionate about, like figure out what brands support that thing that you love. And go get in front of them because, if there's like for us with Cricket supporting WWE's never worked with an influencer how they're working with us.
Wow.
And they don't love it all the time because I insert myself into there and I kind of forced it upon them.
The self-awareness is so good there.
I kind of forced it upon them for them to, but I mean, the WWE is not going to pay us to come to their shows, but if a brand wants us there, they'll be happy to do that. And so that was the only way we were going to get in the door. And I was like, I'm not waiting for the WWE to keep inviting us. I'm going to invite us. I'm going to get us invited. And so now that we work with them, it is a very like foreign concept for them as the WWE to be working with an outside influencer that's not just one of their superstars. But if you have a passion like that, like figure out how you can find a brand that supports that cause and get in front of those brands and then create content for those brands.
Create value that goes both ways.
Absolutely. And so, and then it's also like, because we've done that with our partnership with Cricket specifically, they don't care about the views. It's just not about that for them. It's about the family being out in front of people. And now they've provided us with so much swag. Like when we go to Cardinals games, we all have our clear Cricket backpacks on. And like
that's cool.
We are just slowly but surely kind of becoming like the Jared for Subway of Cricket. Like we're gonna be the leading family of Cricket Wireless. That's
so
the
cool.
goal.
And
that's what they care about, is just having that positivity, and it's not about the number of views you get. It's not about the interactions. If you can find brands that really just value the connections that you are helping them make, and they like, we've never posted a video about Cricket Wireless's services, and we will probably never post a video about Cricket Wireless's services.
Doesn't make sense to me.
Well, they don't want it.
It's
they don't want
crazy.
us to do that.
That's
They want
crazy.
their brand
But they're
recognition.
sponsoring you.
Yeah, but they just want the brand recognition.
That's incredible.
Yeah, but that's the best way. Like our followers will watch those videos. If we were just talking about their service and having a Cricket
bandwidth.
wireless
People
cell phone,
click
and,
off. They'll
like
swipe.
people don't care.
They'll swipe right away.
Yeah, they don't care about that at all.
But they
if
love
they
the
see
fact that
Derek,
they're sending Derek to WWE events.
Yeah.
They love it.
Right.
and
It's
yeah.
a huge win.
They see that they're creating
The
like
biggest win for me.
Cricket is creating these opportunities for us. We would not have this access without their brand partnership, and our followers know that, and they get that now, and they see that they give Cricket that recognition of you are creating dreams. Dreams are coming true.
Yeah.
Because of that brand deal.
That's incredible.
So if you can create a situation, of course it's not going to look the exact same, but something where
right.
you are creating value that's not just in the views. Like you just need to be able to create content that makes people feel good.
Yeah.
That you can attach a brand's
good.
name to.
Ugh.
And that's what we do with Cricket Wireless, and that's why we've had so much success.
And I have to say, you have to be fearless. This girl is fearless.
She comes off that way.
What are you
That's
going to
for sure.
do? You're going
Right.
you're going to tell her no. Okay. Well,
Then I'm going to ask somebody else.
I'm going to go this way.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And she's blown me away.
Yeah,
Like, blows me away.
It's incredible how like motivated you are, and like it's just
She's
it's,
fearless.
It's
the worst
it's
thing that can
mind-blowing.
happen is that you're going to tell me no. And
Yeah.
if you tell
Like-
me no, I might come back and say, "Are you sure you want to say no?" Because
Yeah.
she's done that too.
Oh yeah, people
But-
tell me no sometimes,
but
and I like
she'll-
just we just rehab this conversation. And I'm like, but I don't think you
I
understood.
I don't
what I
think
was
you were
trying to
hearing
say.
what I was saying. Let me
Yeah.
say it again
I was
for
like,
you
I
real
don't
quick.
think I don't think no is where we were supposed to end. So let's try this again.
That's so funny.
And then the other thing is, do what you say you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think that's something that's lacking
Oh yeah,
so much in our world.
Oh yeah.
If you say you're going to call,
Integrity.
call.
Yeah.
If you say you're going to text. If you
and
say
even
you're
if you
gonna
say
email,
you're gonna do one thing and you can't do it, just tell them.
yeah,
right.
Like-
communication and integrity could change your life.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do
It's
what you
so
say you're going to
important.
do.
Yeah.
Show
I
up
had
when you're
a-
supposed to be there.
I had a brand deal. I was supposed to be sending out a proposal last week, and I couldn't get it done. And you just got to send an email and say, hey, I know I said I was going to get this to you by the end of the week, but I just could not make it work.
Yeah.
I'm going to get it to you early next week. And having
People
that,
appreciate that.
you just have to
Yeah.
tell people.
Right.
And it's even if you say one thing and you can't make it happen, you just got to fill them in on why,
Yeah.
or like say, hey, this isn't working because XYZ,
Yeah.
or whatever it is. And even with those brand deals, if you do go back to them and say, maybe they're not offering enough money because you need to buy XYZ things to be able to
Sure.
produce this content, don't talk to them about it.
Yeah.
Like, I have always found that if you are willing to ask, like, think about it. I actually heard this somewhere the other day. This is not mine. I don't remember where I heard it, though, so I'm not going to give them credit because I'm blanking on where I heard whoever talking about this. But
Blake Johnson.
generally speaking, I think it was Bobby Bones. It's probably Bobby Bones. So, but generally speaking, when someone reaches out to you and asks for help, you try to help them.
Oh, of course.
So if you need help,
Yeah.
you just have to be willing to ask for it.
Well, I mean, it's in the Bible, right?
Yeah.
What one guy tells me all the time, he's like, "You have not because you ask not."
Yeah. And if
you
you
go.
don't ask for,
You won't get it.
and if even if it's with a brand that's a big scary corporation and you don't understand it,
Yeah.
just tell
Doesn't
them.
hurt.
Like sometimes I've called our rep from Cricket and I'm like, this is what's going on, and I don't know what to do with this, but this is where we're at. Like,
Yeah.
how are we going to fix this? Like,
Right.
but you have to be willing to have that back and forth relationship with
Right.
a brand where they know that you're going to do what you've told them you're going to do, and you know that they're going to have your back when you have a problem.
Yeah. Just make sure
And-
that they hold their end too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so I think it's a lot of content creators. I've made friends with a good amount at this point that part of it, that management side and the branding side, it's just so daunting and
Oh,
so
yeah.
overwhelming.
Scary,
And
yeah.
it's very easy to get taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I just think you got to be careful about who you are trusting.
Right.
but also just be smart about it. Like the first time I don't remember which friend I told, but I remember talking to somebody once and they were like, "Oh, you're really official. You have a lawyer and an accountant." And I'm like, "Yeah, the lawyer and the accountant get paid before I do, because if I don't pay them, I can't run a functional business.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I'm doing."
It's a big deal.
And like I have to like, if I'm getting a contract, I'm not just going to sign it.
Right.
Like I'm not going to read it.
Like,
but you better believe I'm going to ask
contract.
the right person to read it to make sure
pay out
I'm
the money.
like
Yeah.
doing what it like said I'm going to do. If it's a really big contract, we'll have our lawyer look at it. Most of the time my cousin takes a look and like tells me if he thinks it's okay or not.
Right.
But I think it's just a very daunting thing. Just being an entrepreneur in itself is confusing, and there's really no right answer, and there's so many different
never a
ways
right
you can be
answer.
successful, and there's so many different ways that you can fail.
Oh yeah.
But consistency, you will always be successful if you are consistent.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually.
Absolutely.
Even if it takes, like, for me, it took 2 years for us to get this point.
Yeah.
For somebody else, maybe it takes 6 or 7. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah,
It doesn't
exactly.
matter.
It doesn't matter as
Everybody's
long as you're
journey is different.
enjoying the journey.
Yeah.
Right. Like don't focus too much on the destination, because it's like once you get there, then what do you do?
Exactly.
It's like it's the journey that actually matters.
Yeah,
right?
and I've always tried with everything we do, with everything I'm setting
Journey
up.
for me is really the biggest journey I ever have. I told Jenna this multiple times. I am the star. Yeah, I always be one like that. And I can't wait the future holds for me and Baker Banter, TikTok.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome. I'm so excited. And in 2023 is my year, so I could everyone out there, the listeners, I am entering the Royal Rumble.
Oh my
Absolutely.
goodness.
Yep.
So,
Back to the Royal Rumble.
I was thinking, like, one of the things, and this is something for us, it's a little different because I am a content creator. I'm the one that makes everything, but he is the star of the show.
yeah.
And so
I
it
am
is
the
kind
star
of
of the
easy
show.
for me to kind of like, if I need to ask for something, I'm like, that's not going to
Yeah.
work for Derek.
Right.
Like, okay, that sounds like a lot of walking, or that sounds like a lot of standing.
Right.
Like, we're going to have to change this up. But if you are that person, you're advocating for yourself, you just have to say those things. Like, oh, well, I don't do great
with this,
in the sun
with
for
that.
6 hours or
Yeah.
whatever.
At 5
it might be.
a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
5.
But it like for us, it's a little bit easier for me because
Wow.
it's easy for me to say, I know Derek and I know if this is going to work or not. And
Yeah.
we do have a very unique set of needs. And I always
Yeah.
make sure that we're putting ourselves into a situation that's going to work for everyone involved.
That's
Of
good.
course, I'm happy to push him to his limits and challenge him. Like, I'm not just,
Yeah, of course.
I'm always hoping that he'll
push it to the limit.
but he always meets me there. But if
Yeah.
if it's if you're the content creator and you're the one with the specific needs, you just have to say it though.
Yeah,
Like, it's
right.
so important to, in whatever situation, whether it's a brand deal or whether it's because you're going to an event to do something, like if they are expecting you to create good content, you need to tell them how you're capable of doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And-
absolutely.
And I mean, that's what they want you to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to do it. You got to tell them how you're going to be able to do it
and-
well.
And if you communicate that, then there's no confusion. There's no guessing. There's no like assuming.
Right.
You just kind of know and like, okay, cool, we're on the same page. Let's go. You know.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
it's very daunting. It's very, but the thing is, too, anybody can do it,
Right.
and you really can. Like, anybody can do this.
Especially
But
me.
exactly,
Especially me.
especially you.
Because I always win. Like I said before, Bakers never lose.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that
I
is
love
just
that.
that is
But it's not
really
just
true.
about losing though, too, because, and like I said earlier, like, failure happens. Things don't work
Well,
all the
Sure.
time,
failure is a failure,
but you keep going, right?
but you can maybe keep going to that. But if you success to win, that's on you because it's gonna be awesome. I am entering the Royal Rumble. I'm gonna headline WrestleMania. I don't know why mom's laughing about that right now. I'm gonna win the Royal Rumble match.
See, Derek and I both believe in manifesting.
Yeah.
I don't write
Jenna,
anything
please
down.
let me talk, please.
Okay, you got to stop talking about WWE. That's not why we're here, bro.
I'm trying to do something here, and you'll always interrupt.
Because you keep talking about WWE.
So that
Okay,
doesn't matter.
Go ahead. Finish your sentence.
Thank you. Like I said before, I am entering the Royal Rumble match. I will win the Royal Rumble match. I will headline WrestleMania 49. Roman Reigns is mine. I'm coming for that title. Mom, please stop laughing, please.
I think you're lovely, and I think you cut a better promo than most WWE
Oh, yeah.
Most of our
wrestlers.
TikTok
For
followers
sure.
agree.
You're great. But we're talking about growing media, and I think Lucas is probably trying to wrap up. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just gonna ask, where can the the viewers find you?
We are on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Baker Banter on
Okay.
all the platforms.
Cool.
also on Cameo. If
Also
you want
on
a shout out
Cameo.
or your own special promo cut
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Derek Baker for your birthday or
That's
anniversary
perfect.
or
Or
Yeah.
all
whatever.
sorts of things. We actually had a guy reach
Anything.
out not that long ago. He wanted Derek to do a cameo to announce their fantasy football
It's just
order.
another
And so we just
stream of income right
He was
there.
incredible.
That's so cool.
He was
We-
incredible.
we
He was so
handed-
good on the fly.
Yeah.
it was a cameo, but we just announced their fantasy football
That's
team.
so cool.
It was
But
awesome.
Hey,
I think
you guys have a
the-
website too?
We do have a website. It's
Yeah.
bakerbanter.com. I don't know that it's been updated, but
That's all right.
it exists, and
Yeah.
you can get to our social media from it.
Yeah.
But I think the last thing I was just going to say is
Yeah, go
like
ahead.
manifesting is a real thing. And we have been doing it forever. We didn't know it was going to be called Baker Banter, but
Yeah.
Derek and I have been talking about making videos together for a really long time. And even since we've been doing that, just Derek doesn't really know what manifesting means to this.
Sure.
Like he doesn't really know what how to wrap his head around that necessarily.
Yeah.
But Derek was going to be at WrestleMania in 2022. Like he talked about
No
it
matter
for
what.
months and months and
Yeah.
months. And I knew he wanted to do that, and I figured out a way to make it happen.
Yeah, it's
so like
incredible.
I created the manifestation for him.
Sure.
But like just for
You
us in
have.
general.
But the door's
That
open.
dream is
yeah.
You
that
know.
dream
And
Yeah.
like
come true.
I have talked for years about having a podcast, and like we will have a podcast
Oh,
at some
for
point.
sure.
We
Yeah.
we will have two actually. We will have
Yeah.
one dedicated to wrestling.
Oh yeah.
And then
That
we
would
will
be
have
me.
one for the Baker girls while we'll
Yeah.
talk about everything else.
Nice.
But
That's awesome.
but just we speak these things into existence like quite literally because when you talk about them every day and you do actions that will eventually get you to that point where you are capable of accomplishing those goals.
Yeah.
And so I think like some people say write stuff down. I'm not a big writer. I don't
Sure.
journal or write anything down like that, but like I talk and I have talked.
You talk a lot.
I talk a
on this
lot.
pop-
I know.
on this
I know.
pop-
I talk a
podcast.
lot. And I have talked forever about
Yeah.
this happening.
Right.
And now we're here
Yeah,
because
speaking
we
it
have
into existence.
I was serious when I said that.
Yeah.
Every single 1,700 times I said it, I was serious. But like I didn't know how we were gonna get there. But
Yeah.
like I was serious that that's what I wanted to do. I just
Yeah.
needed to
That's
figure out
incredible.
how. So
Yeah.
I think it's just being positive, being yourself, being consistent.
Yeah.
And be
and-
you, right?
And being
being you,
flexible,
yeah.
just being okay. Like if
Right.
it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Do something else.
Right.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not going to work
this-
every time.
This episode's been incredible. Like so much value packed into one episode. You definitely need a podcast. I think by
I know
yourself.
I talk way too much.
by yourself, you could have a podcast
know.
just like
You need to have one.
talking about business and TikTok and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Or probably anything, right?
Yeah. We'll talk about everything.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for coming on the podcast and staying out after filming the spiel. I know it's
This
probably
was fun,
been
though.
exhausting, but
I
no,
don't think it is.
I just appreciate you guys so much. Yeah, you're just full of energy.
We love
I,
it.
I have a lot of energy. Like I said before,
I'm going to win the Royal Rumble.
Stop.
I'll just put it on replay at the end, just so
There
people
you
make
go.
sure that
Replay.
they know, that you're going to be at the Royal Rumble.
and win.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And win
Seriously.
it. Win it.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe. I'm going to put all their links in the description below so you guys can go find them, like them, follow them, support them, whatever, everything.
Have
Cool.
fun.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Spain a bless.